Hi, this is Elizabeth. Today I would like to talk about a controversial subject that I researched recently. And when I found out about this information, it surprised me so much so that I felt strongly to share it with anyone who is interested in the real truth. The dawning of the Aquarian age is not going to happen because it's already here. Yes, friends, the Aquarian age has been with us for millennia. We can safely say that the Aquarian constellation has been influencing earthly life shortly after the Piscean age started. And that was a long time ago, since about 3,000 years ago. The powerful influence of Aquarius has increased in the past 2-3 centuries, and it's here to stay. Based on the deep research of a select group of astrologers, the Aquarian constellation is quite unique, and they established that it's here, it's with us now. In general, the zodiac houses do not follow nicely in a row, like on so many contemporary illustrations we can see perfect circles. This is not so on older, more ancient illustrations. For example, some constellations like Virgo is quite large, others are smaller or have gaps between them. In the case of the House of Aquarius, this one is very unique because it has a two-dimensional quality. Like a flat wavy cloud filled with air, this constellation simply bleeds into its neighbors' houses. How do we know that we're in the Aquarian age? The number one proof that we could actually find is the Christ figure is not a Piscean character. It's actually an Aquarian character. If we look deeper, we find that the teachings, actual birth and resurrection of Christ, aligns very well with the Aquarian ideology and not so much with Piscean concepts. Contrary to popular belief, the altruistic character and teachings of Buddha 1,000 years prior to the birth of Christ is more of a real landmark of the Piscean age. Actually, early Christianity that still carried the higher Aquarian and Piscean ideals was practiced all over Central Asia and Central Europe hundreds of years prior to the official timing of the birth of Christ, which was created by the Emperor Constantine. We're told that Christ was born of a virgin. His teachings express the ideas of individual freedom, to love and be mindful of our fellow humans and respect all life forms. These ideas do not match with the hierarchical religious systems and dogmas of the Piscean age. The phenomenon of the birth, crucifixion, and subsequent resurrection of the Christ figure is ample proof that we're witnessing a parallel influence beaming down from the Aquarian constellation for almost 3,000 years. Data based on the fabricated Gregorian calendar, the Piscean age extends from about 200 BC until today, but in reality it reaches back another 1,000 years. Interestingly, the Aquarian age does not operate on a time span at all. As I mentioned, it's timeless, it's just floating everywhere. Its two-dimensional filmy layer is like an invisible radio or a gamma wave or microwave radiation. This is why we are in the age of radiation. As you can see on this old illustration, the water bearer is standing with one foot on one of the fish of the Piscean house, and in the one hand it holds a stick that reaches into Capricorn, and in his right hand he is pouring water from a clay vessel. The constellation of the water bearer covers a vast area. It overlaps not only into the Piscean constellation, but into the fixed constellation of Capricorn as a second dimensional layer or veil floating in and out of space-time. And this symbolizes the act of bridging the two constellations. Meanwhile, pouring water, which represents the Piscean element, from a clay earth vessel that is a Capricornian element, symbolizes the bridging of the two qualities, preparing the transition from water to earth. Please take a closer look at this constellation that was depicted on an old illustration here. So the age of Pisces is related to water and the subconscious mind. In the Piscean age, the dark side of the human mind is activated. Fear has been humanity's primary motivation for over 3,000 years. The emphasis in the Piscean age is on blind faith, trust in the unknown, the other world, wherever that may be. And the two fish of Pisces indicate dualism. During this time, conflict between religion and science intensified as science opposes blind faith. Thanks to the heavy influence from the Aquarian Paradox, science itself simply turned into a form of religion. 5 major religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, came to dominate during this age, as they were most successful at using massive fear-based mind control. This resulted in our world mired in perpetual wars since the beginning of this age. The onset of the Piscean age, about 3,000 years BC, ended many great civilizations prior that thrived for thousands of years. Examples are the Maya, the Inca civilizations on the American continents, and the ancient Egyptian Hittites on the African continent, and the great Scythian cultures that populated the vast areas of Eurasia. Now, the higher aspects of Aquarius promises to bring out our independent spirit and create universal humanism. What does this big word universal humanism mean? It postulates that no dogma or political doctrine can save you. Only you can save yourself. However, the opposite is really true today. While universal humanism should be the hallmark of this Aquarian age, it's becoming the age of the ideologue. This universal humanism idea is really about being an integral, useful part of an efficient hive, as in a hive of bees or a hive of ants. The independent spirit thing sounds really like a great idea, but most humans today exercise very little of it. This is a big subject. I will hope to go into this a lot more on my upcoming video. Yes, friends, the brave new age is about a faceless everyman who is expected to be an efficient member of the hive. We see that already all over. Since the last century, several sovereign nations fell prey to oppressive dictatorships of the hive systems of communism. Many generations since the 1900s grew up with deep-rooted communist dogmas implanted into their psyche. The youth of the most current generations, especially those born since the 1990s, are really being effectively indoctrinated into this hive-mind world. This is being done, of course, without anyone having a clue about what's happening to them. The hive-based communist systems gave rise to generations of mindless, robotic bureaucrats and technocrats who are only faithful to the system, to their hive. Individual human life means nothing to them. It's the world of one versus the many. The needs of the masses override the needs of the one, or so they preach. In reality, no one really wins, except for the queen on the very top layer of the hive reaps all the benefits. Here you can see the hierarchical system of the beehive. With the queen, there's only one of them. Then there's the workers, there's tens of thousands of them. And then you have the males that are basically useless, which is the kind of world that is being perpetrated on us right now. So the new Aquarian world order is getting traction now with incredible speed all over the world. For example, if in China the communist think tanks decide one day to empty out villages of millions of farmers, forcing them to move into crowded cities that were not ready to absorb them, it's done with great speed and massive human sacrifice. Once they settle and are living in incredibly inhuman conditions, the technocrats change course again and decide to mobilize them again out of there, demolish their buildings to fit the greater plan of the big agenda. This is the madness of the hive-based New World Order coming to a neighborhood near you. It does not occur to anyone how dangerous and destructive these centralized communist hive agendas are for the survival of humanity and for all life on Earth. Communism already has been proven to be a failure. The atrocities committed about a century ago by queen bee dictators like Mao and Stalin was just a test run, I'm afraid. Totalitarianism, like a cancer, is about to take root all over our beautiful Earth. Yes, friends, we are knee-deep in the Aquarian Age, and it's getting deeper. Need more proof? How about the millions of humans glued to their two-dimensional flat-screen smartphones, tablets, computers, and televisions all day or night? The arrival of the computer revolution was proof positive of the Aquarian Age. The invisible wave radiation of electronics, cell towers, Wi-Fi is beaming down on all life forms 24/7. Or how about the latest deadly energy weapons capable of killing just one or millions in a nanosecond? Add to the list extremely low frequency radiations, or ELF, scalar radiation, radar, HARP, and DEW, directed energy weapons. And the list goes on. These weapons are now used daily on civilian populations worldwide. They are destroying the ionosphere, interfering with the sun's radiation, and altering the weather above the entire Earth plane. Next on the list, deadly rays emanating from the latest new 5G technology, promising to turn us into sick, mindless zombies. Yes, this timeless, shapeless Aquarian Age is here to stay, creating massive destruction in our waters, on Earth, and in our skies. Should I go on? All life forms are being poisoned with nuclear radiation, genetically modified foods, and forced vaccination. Geoengineered weather warfare is waged worldwide, creating massive flooding or droughts, if they want that, all leading to food shortages, lots of lost lives, causing massive devastations. Entire cities, counties, or states are being displaced and destroyed to make room for the brave new Aquarian world order. All this is done according to carefully detailed multiple agendas created by none other than the unelected technocrats of the United Nations, which is the top hive organization in our world right now. Our youth is no longer connected to the physical reality of Mother Nature. They admire beautiful nature pictures online or on their Instagram feeds. Many grow up without having any intimate knowledge of the animal and plant kingdoms, or able to visit old-growth forests, rivers, lakes, or the oceans. Yes, the overlords of the Aquarian world hive will make sure that not one person will disobey their dictum. In fact, the mind control is already working so perfectly well that we can observe masses of people dressing, talking, walking, working in a uniform manner. There are unspoken rules for the members of the hive to follow, and if anyone is out of step, other members of the hive will be quick to disclose it, and they get rejected. This is the age where being rejected by the hive means instant suicide. The hive dictatorship will know everything about every member, having access to the members' most intimate daily life activities. Everyone's money and all their worldly possessions will be listed on the blockchain of massive quantum computers and can be disconnected from it in an instant if they are deemed unworthy. And of course, meanwhile, the Piscean age of duality, deception, and religious fanaticism is still in full swing for over 3,000 years as well. More precisely, this fanaticism is being used by the Aquarian agendas in a bizarre twist turning masses of disenfranchised youth into fanatic religious zealots, and then turning them into killers, all in the name of religion. So what happened to the Piscean ideas of unconditional love, peace, harmony? Are the great Aquarian ideas of oneness, individual freedom, the love and respect for all life lost? It's true that hundreds of thousands of healers, teachers are living among us, helping to increase the consciousness of humanity and our earth. Many often sacrifice their own personal happiness, livelihoods, family connections to remain true to their purpose and spread the message of unconditional love. The wonderful ideas of love, peace, harmony, and oneness are buried under the destructive waves of the Aquarian influence. Much of humanity is stuck in the twilight zone, and many end up losing their ability to uphold the precious ideals of faith, love, and freedom. We are forced to choose, join the hive, and resign our souls to become a mindless transhuman. Or, if we want to remain sovereign and free, we must be prepared to become a virtual fugitive for the rest of our lives. To remain faithful to one's authentic self and stay in truth is becoming harder during the Aquarian age. You see, the hive is not interested in the truth. It's only interested in ideologies. They're far removed from reality. The Aquarian New World is a two-dimensional, timeless world, remember? It's only capable to offer two-dimensional paper or computer, binary 0 or 1 ideas to the masses. And the masses are mindless, so they follow one ideology or another. This world has become the kingdom of the mighty AI, the artificial intelligence, in total control of the masses until the very end of this age. As you can see from this illustration, the job of the water bearer is to bridge the Piscean fish with the next age, ruled by earthy Capricorn. Bridging these opposing energy constructs is a complex process. Without the water bearer's parallel influence, we would not be able to progress into the next age. Landing with both feet firmly on the rocky grounds of the House of Capricorn may be something we can look forward to after all the crazy Twilight Zone and roller coaster rides we are enduring right now. It may appear from the above that we ended up getting the worst of both ages during this cycle on Earth. The top layer of this age is built on lies. To be true, no deep truth is available. And those who succeed in this world are willing to be liars, let's face it. To remain a loving, respectful human who refuses to compromise about the real truth is indeed the greatest challenge of this age. However, it's not impossible to remain authentic, truthful, to keep our humanity against all odds. The promise of the true Aquarian human is to have the ability to rise above. I challenge you to be that human. And as a disclaimer, I must say that I'm not an expert astrologer or astronomer, just a curious researcher. While researching this topic, I keep on finding a lot of proof that the dawning of the Aquarian age is really not going to happen because it is already here. This is part 1 of a series of vlogs that I'm planning to write on this topic, so please check in again for part 2. And I look forward to hearing from you. Please feel free to share your ideas, comments, opinions, examples to prove or disprove these ideas. Thanks for checking in with me on this controversial subject, and many blessings to everyone.